Welcome to Pain to Power. I am your host, Maria Cosme, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting, and this is Pain to Power Leading with Love, where we are learning all the tools and how to heal ourselves through the pain life is constantly throwing at us. And today I'm sitting in this space of thinking of this quote that I recently heard that I think has been kind of resonating with me in my own journey of healing and understanding and pain, which is the degree to which a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth they can accept about themselves without running away. It's a powerful one because I think that part of our healing journey is always to be examining ourselves and the decisions that we've made that have put us in the places that we are. Because it's easy to look at everyone else. It's harder to look internally. And that's our goal is in order to heal, we have to examine our own faults as well as decisions that we've made that have put us in the places that we have been that have caused us harm. So as we are continuing this journey and this healing and this evolution of finding ourselves and creating power from the pain, we are finding many different tools. And today I want to introduce to you a guest I am so honored to have on, the founder of Art is Positive Empowerment, as he's a DJ, a poet, and an event coordinator. Welcome, DJArt.
Good evening, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. It is really an honor. I have seen you in action a few times on the stage, both as a DJ and as a poet. Both of which you own the spaces, and I'm really honored to have you here because what I've heard through your poetry particularly is the journey that you have been on to get to where you are today. And so before we get into that whole journey itself, I always invite everybody over here to ask you just what it means for you to turn pain into power.
Courage, bravery, period. It takes courage to actually not let what you went through define you. So it takes courage to actually transmute that energy into something that can help not just yourself, but others. It's courage.
And that's a big one, courage, right? Like how to get to that place. So tell me a little bit about just your own journey of getting to a place where you have that courage.
So the interesting part about this whole journey is that my name is actually Artist. Birth name, Artist, with no T at the end. Artist is my birth name. So long story short, I spent the majority of my life running from my name. So it took me the courage to lean in to the things that I was interested in without acceptance from anyone else to kind of actually become who you all see today as art is. And it was reluctant steps every step of the way. It's still reluctant steps, but it's purpose will make you walk. And as you keep doing it, doors will open. So I have a saying, doors open when you walk in your intention. And they truly do. Living example of that.
That's for certain they do. So, I mean, but let's go back a little bit. You said you were running from it. What made you run from being artists?
So first and foremost, the first question is, so do you paint? So this is, I mean, from kindergarten, even to this day. So the first question is, do you paint? Like really? And the answer is no, not yet. Or not, I
Right.
draw, you understand what I'm saying. So it's always it was always like a pressure of some sort that I internalized because no, I don't paint. Like it was an eye roll. It even didn't go by my name. I went by my initials for years to kind of sway that. But I came to art is by understanding that art is you, art is the entity, art is the idea, art is the imagination, art is the creation. So it took a drunk open mic for me to kind of realize that, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be going.
Okay, so now I gotta ask. Tell me more. I mean, so first off, I mean, open mic means you were out, you were doing your poetry, so you were writing poetry. I mean, what were you writing it for yourself more, and then you ended up going to an open mic? Tell me the story, like of how it all came to be.
So I have always written, but I wrote things because I couldn't express them to people. They were more complicated, complex conversations. And I can use an example of this is one that usually gets people in a stump. What happened in the year zero?
Mm,
And so I was this as a child. So you get shussed, and don't ask me that. And you deal with these kinds of things growing up because my brain kind of asks the bigger questions than most people would even be willing to even, scratch at searching
mm,
for the answers to.
right,
So
right.
an inquisitive mind with no one to really share those kind of deeper things with actually translated to notepad. And a notepad got left out one day, and one of my friends saw it. And literally they said, you have to do this. And months and months and months and months, we finally go to an open mic, and it's around a birthday. And so he just was like, just go up there and read your poem. Just read it. Just read it, read it. And so I think I posted the poem on Facebook first to kind of get a reception of it.
Mm,
You know how we kind of test the waters.
right, right.
And then when I kind of got feedback from people who I did not, it's your friends, but then it's strangers actually who will say, this was this was that, or keep going. That kind of said, okay, I'll do it. But when I got there, I couldn't do it. I people who know me for a long time know this energy or this reflection out. I used to be very reserved, very to the back, very to the back. So
Mm,
it took a lot of liquid courage for me to actually get over what I thought was going to be the reception to my poem.
mm,
And then it became therapy in that moment when I did it because I just wanted to release the poem. I guess I
mm.
just wanted it to be heard aloud. I wanted to share it, but I didn't know I wanted to share it or
Yeah,
how sharing it would be helpful for me more so than the world.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's personal because even to this day I write my poetry for me, but I share it because I now know it helps other people.
Mm. So tell me, what did that feel like to take that poetry that was for you, but say it out loud for others?
That is why the name of my first poetry book is Release. That is why the name of my open mic is Release, because the it begins with that. I will say when you're seeking connection, most poets, most artists are seeking connection during some time or tribulation in life, and the actual release of the art is the therapy itself. Is my
Mm,
best way to say it. The actual release of the art, regardless of how it's taken, how it's responded to, how
hmm.
it's received, how it's criticized, the actual releasing of the art is the therapy.
Yeah. I mean, that makes so much sense though, because what you're doing is releasing a piece of you into the world, right? And that's the therapy and the healing. So, I mean, in all of this, and you talked about how you were inquisitive mind that didn't have a space to share that inquisitiveness, right? What are some of those other messages and things that you had been struggling with that needed to go into your poetry as your voice?
The truth. I realized that most of the truth is never told. Usually the stories are told by the winners, and the winners don't necessarily tell the truth of how they got to where they were or how things are, how they. This is what happened when I got the internet. So look, I'm that old. When the internet first came around, I started researching things that I wanted to know about, and a lot of the things that I was taught just didn't add up with those facts. And so it literally just kind of blew my mind open, and I kind of just learn to live life through the people and experiences around me. And those stories, instead of the fabricated stories or exaggerated stories told time and time and more.
So were some of those stories about you and who you are, who you're supposed to be?
I had to find the courage to become who I am. Um, Self confidence is a thing. And I guess with art, particularly, you want your art to be received. And so, and it doesn't go away, even, all the performances, all the shows, but you want to tell the truth. You want to tell your truth because that's the poetry I've realized over these years that's the more impactful. Those stories about overcoming, self-doubt, self-hatred, the questions you have about life, God, existence, love. Those are the things that people who aren't poets or who aren't tapped into their artist realm will ever even speak aloud.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's some honest truth, right? Of that people don't speak aloud about themselves, right? That understanding of self. So what is your truth though?
So a poem that I did is called Self-Hating Gay. And so even now when I do this poem, it makes me cringe. I actually dislike the poem, but I only dislike the poem because it was my truth for so long. So I'm going to share a snippet of it with you guys. And this poem is about a process when I could not accept who I thought I was to be because it was projected onto me. So then I started to hate myself based on what other people would say I would be, could be, potentially. And so I became a self-hating gay. Self-hating gay. When the term literally means happy, they say. Yet I find myself hating me. As realistically as I have to hide my story, my life denies me ability. As complicated and complex being this way can be, I'm stuck in a self-hating gaze. On my reflection, as I cannot stand why am I this way? These urges, these feelings, why, God, am I this way? Stuck being inadequate. For you, as the clues you're ever close to me being lost in my own journey. I hate that my normal is abnormal. So I hate myself. Self, something that I am in the constant discovery of, hating that my decision is ostracism from all who claim to love me, respect me, gay, enemy, tragedy, envy, jealousy. Now I'm never feeling quite safe. Always extra careful in how I relay my truth to the world and myself. Now a self-hating gay. And that's just a snippet of that piece. But I mean, literally, I would say from 15 to about 27, 28, it was an intense struggle. And it still is, even as a professional entertainer, it still raises issues and complications when I even say poems like this aloud. Because the discrimination isn't gone, it doesn't go away, it's just subliminal now.
That's powerful though, and I think you said it is that you're risking your safety like that, saying the poem, speaking the truth, you're risking the safety, and whether it's the safety of safe space to be able to share, or I imagine there's more than that, right? Like,
Oh, it goes every level. there have been instances where I've been told I can't do that poem in the space, or and it's just it's levels to that. There, I've been told as I've been even called a gay poet. So, and this is why you wouldn't hear this poem from me normally, because I'll get typecast and put in. So it gets very complicated, as the poem says, because I have to tread waters. I have to tread certain waters as a professional. But even if I speak on this as my art in a professional space, that can lead to complications. But the truth is revelation. It's opened more doors for me than I ever would have imagined. And that poem in particular has been the most poem till this day. I've had people come up to me and say, a lot of Black men, to even double down on it, to say that I've never been able to put those words together. I've never been able to even think about it that much. Thank you for sharing that. So it's a struggle that's not just mine. And that's why I know it's important.
That's very important. I mean, you have the stage and the place to be able to create the voice for those who are voiceless, right? Like that's huge. Um, and you've got a lot of fans in the chat. I just want to honor some of these friends coming in, giving you lots of love. Talk your ish
Thank you.
artist Lisa Feliciano. Welcome, Lisa. That's awesome. Miko Reed says, "Hey, Murray, back-to-back phenomenal shows. Love this, Miko. Appreciate you." And great for you to come in. And yeah, Art, let's go. But definitely, I think. But I think, and No Holdbacks TV, welcome. Tasha says your own truth is always unique but so relatable. And it's like you said, right? Though it is relatable, right? Like what you've done is you're providing the permission for others to speak their truth, to feel their truth, whether or not they speak it. I think to even feel it, right? That's powerful in your words.
A lot of it is really acknowledging that you aren't the only one who feels the way you feel. We are not alone. And that's truly what it really, really goes back to. We are never truly alone. We might feel it, we might can't articulate how we feel, but even in whatever feeling that is, we are never alone. We just have to find where someone can meet us in that feeling so we can come out of it. Because it's not a place to stay. It's never a place to stay. It's just a place to go through.
That's
it's like
true. Definitely. I mean, it's a place to go through. But so, like for you though, Art, like when you have had that feeling, right? At those moments in your life when you felt alone, right? To be able to now know that you need to make other people not feel alone means that you have yourself at some point felt that. How did you get through that for yourself?
I clap for people. I clap for people who have the courage to try. Period. I clap for people who have the courage to go for their dreams, their desires, their wishes, their whims. I clap for the people who are living life to the fullest. And that means putting feet in front of each other and going for it, no matter who, what, when says what. I just clap. That is literally the cornerstone of my business. I clap for people in the beginning, the inception. I clap for them because I personally know what that's like not to be clapped for. I know what it's not like to be encouraged until it's a finished product. I don't do that. I clap from the beginning. I clap when you have the idea. If you say it out loud, make it happen. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. And see, in life, I've realized, especially as a Black man, that's not really what's happening. It has to be clapped for a certain, you have to fit in the boxes of what I deem acceptable. I'm clapping because you're going for your dreams, regardless of mine, regardless of the impact on my life. You're going for yours, so I'm going to clap for you. You have the balls. Like I'm gonna watch my mouth. You have the balls to go for it, and that's what I clap. before. And so I clapped for several people since I started. And I mean, that's just what I do. I realized that that was lacking. That's just lacking in life. Clap for people just because system of competition. No, no, no. These are brave souls, and especially in the art of poetry, they're bearing things that they won't even tell their therapist. It gets deep about like poets and what they let out to the world, not knowing how the world are even going to take it. So I
Yeah.
especially clap for poets.
And I mean, but that's beautiful. And I think what you said was you clap before it's finished. That's so rare. Like we're always looking for the finished product, and then people encourage you. Then people are like, "Oh yeah, I see it now." But the vision is rarely
Supported.
encouraged the same way and supported, right?
Mhm.
And particularly in poetry, right? I think like that's a different thing, right? Like the messiness of it in the process is not always what everybody wants to see. They want to see that clean, clear delivery of the message at the end. And Lisa Feliciano says, keep telling the truth even if your voice shakes. Artists' vibes are everything. Yes, they
Yes,
are. Yes,
this
they
poem,
are.
this poem always makes, because it's a poem that makes me flash back to that self, which is me. Because like I said, it doesn't go away. I just manage it better. I don't let it
Right.
I don't let it stop me. And I just let that poem encourage me. You can't hate yourself. They taught you that. Like that's the whole poem. They taught you to hate yourself, not that's how you are. You don't even call yourself these names. So release yourself from those shackles.
So is poetry undoing those narratives for you that you have heard over time?
I would say poetry and comedians are the only ones who are able to tell the truth on a stage.
Mm.
They're the only two art forms of expression that are allowed to literally just talk about whatever they want. So I kind of I lean into that. So if you're saying like a soapbox, comedians and poets have the soapbox to really talk about current events, things the media won't talk about, or the actual issues or topics at the deeper levels. Comedians and poets have always been, time immemorial, the ones who talk about the events outside of power systems.
And I see again lots of chat. I see Miko Reed says, yes, Art, you're selfless and incredibly authentic. Love the spaces that you create and the energy that you bring to it all. Definitely, and for sure, I've been in some of those spaces, and there's something about the energy that you exude that, again, like you said, it like welcomes people in. It makes it okay to bear your truth, to be honest, to be fallible, but to be learning, right? And you create all of that. So let me ask you though, like in what you just said about poets having this platform to be speaking the truth on many different things, have you found yourself in different evolutions of speaking truth over time in your journey of being an artist on the stage?
The best way I can say it is know your audience, is the better way I could say it. So if I can look into a room now and I kind of call it God most of the time, the messaging will come out that way. So I have a set in mind, but the poems that need to come out for that room will come out in that room. So it's more dictated by the energy in the room, actually. So I try not to be heavy, but I'm deep. So like it's kind of like a battle all the time. Like I don't want to be so deep.
Yeah.
I don't want to be so deep with these people, but I am still getting accustomed to how I express myself and how it's received because it's still growing. I'm still getting more confident, even talking about more bolder topics or, you know, more personal matters, which, hit different than a poem with lines and metaphors. So, yeah.
What has allowed you to give yourself more grace to get into that then? Those more personal matters, those more complex topics?
I am so glad you asked me that question. It's the open mic space. There would be no art is at any of this level if the open mic space didn't show me over about 9, 10 years now of hundreds of different artists and all different points of their experience and journeys, bearing souls. And I've seen evolutions, I've seen downfalls, pitfalls. You kind of see the entire human experience if you really pay attention. And another thing on open mics, if open mics don't get a good rep. It's the workshop space of the artist. It's the only place you can go to actually practice your material, to kind of see how it's received in front of others. Like, we're in the age of the internet and we can get on a camera, but it's still different in a room full of 50 people, how your art is received. So those are the vibes. See, that's the space I move in. So I realized that it's important to create a space where, as an artist, if this is a new song, a skit, a snippet, feel free, because you see, we don't know. We're mostly afraid. Mostly no one will say try something new. And all I do is I'm just going against the grain, really. Really, like, it's really not no big formula. It's literally saying, well, everybody else says no. I'm just gonna say yes, try it. And I'm gonna clap for you for trying it. And I'm gonna encourage the room to as well. Because the more you try, the better you get. That's how I've gotten to this level. This isn't year 1 or 2 for art is. I am in year 5 as a business, but year 9 or 10 as like poet. So it's a process.
And I love that. And I have experienced some of the open mics that you had. That's where we met the first time, was at an open mic. And I think there's something about that, like you said, right? It's this ability for artists to practice their craft without those barriers, right? In front of an audience. It's huge. So what brought you from attending open mics to starting to like really be a part of crafting them for others?
They go hand in hand in my story. So DJArt was created because I used to play my music off my phone at an open mic. So when I used to go, they used to just put your phone on, play your music. But then I started performing. I was too reluctant to even perform at first. But once I started performing and I started going regularly, like I said, it became my church. It became my therapy. It became all of those healing circles and all of those things that people could call other stuff. It became the open mic space, became that for me. Because testimonies and all of those trials and tribulations, I learned from what I heard, saw, and experienced from others. The best way to say, I said, if you don't do it now, you won't, right? And I just started to test myself over and over, like, test yourself, like, push yourself, like, you don't know how they're going to receive this. And I still feel this way about a lot of my poems. I call shaking at the table, but you're going to get this poetry. You're going to get this poetry.
Regardless, but that's that like ability to like jump, even not knowing where you're gonna land, right? Like and that's some strength and power to be able to do that. Right?
Courage. And then see, we're gonna tie about
Courage.
courage.
It's the
And see,
courage.
and
Yeah.
people now call me fearless for talking about things that I was too afraid to speak on. People call me all these titles and things, leader, and I'm just artist. Look, I'm just artist, living an artist's life, an artist's journey, try to create. That's really it. It's just ironic that all artists are creators. Boom, my name, art is. You see, like, it's like a big cliche, but it's power in it.
It's not, it's more than a cliche. Like it's like the universe has already put you in this place of this is your path, this is what you were meant to do. And not to make it minimize it, because yes, you are poet and you are on the stage, but you are giving permission to so many other people to jump, to take those risks, to speak on things, and to process their own pain into words. That's a lot. And I can see in the chat the way that people are blowing up, and your enthusiasm for you is that you've hit a lot of people along the way. So in thinking about that, like, in your spoken word events and some of these open mics, have you watched and seen individuals go through their trajectories through this
Yeah,
process? And
absolutely. I am the proudest thing about being an open mic curator is that the artists that I started with in my own open mic are like award-winning poets, slam champions, top contenders in the world. And I mean, these are newer artists. So I, and this is, they thank me too much about this space. They like, I'm trying not to get emotional, Lord Jesus, not on the camera. But like, it's the biggest honor that my space, or the spaces that I even just add my energy on, because it's not just me. It's just that we create a way for people to just be the mess, be imperfect, be the work in progress, but consistently be at it. That's it. That's it. And I haven't even really started pushing that level of it yet. But the concept, the first level, the first book, the open mic, release it. The pain, the stress, the trauma, all release it. And then you'll make room for your destiny. And it's just, it's an honor to see poets, singers, rappers, comedians, because I do all kinds of, I work with the entire spread of art. I'm not, I am a poet, but I'm not beheld to any art form. I work with them all. And that's the gift that each time I'm summoned now, I get to ask other artists to get paid to do their art. And people call me for recommendations for things. And, I'm part of city events. So it's power in art, and art changes lives.
Does. And I mean, I got to give some shout out to the chat here, because there's so many people who are resonating with what you're saying and the power of it. Lisa says, let those emotions out. You need that good soul cry. It shows how everyone you touch appreciates you. I see them tears of joy, artists. Yes. And I would agree. I mean, if that's where it's flowing, that's where it's flowing, right? Whether it's on the mic or it's on the stage or it's in the show, it's where it is. And No Holdbacks TV says, letting someone being free is the most beautiful feeling. I mean, I have to concur. Like, I think the power, and I think I did see these smiles in here as well. Salute to, again, creators in an open space to exist. Salute these smiles. Thank you for joining us as well. I mean, absolutely, right? Creators need, and what up, Lord Vale? And C dot, I love it. So many Ranchers fam showing up for you artists here, and you've got some new fans I can see. What up, Tennessee? And so, but I think again, like, the power of the open mic is something that we just don't see often for artists. I think, again, going to perfection, going to this idea of completed products, like, people want to see art as a completed, finished thing. Art is never in the process when it's shown to people, usually,
It's
right?
always in process. See,
But it's always in process, but that's not what
always
people perceive it to be, right?
exactly right, exactly, absolutely. So they will we so and it's not the public, it's more so the industries. The
Mm.
industries will create competition between artists. When if you're an artist and someone likes your art, they're going to support it. It is just a period. It really, so like when you kind of break away from like ties to industries and this, that, and competing, if you do your art and you go to a flea market and people buy your art, you're a successful artist. It's not really until you start to, try to be some, not you put yourself on a pedestal or put your art under a pressure cooker that you don't really just let your art do what it's supposed to do.
Um, and that's powerful. But so like within your art, you particularly have this. You do haikus. You do a lot of haikus, and they're it's like I mean I'm always impressed because I'm like the way that you are able to master such a quick poetry structure, but to hit so many levels of emotional engagement and understanding and like opening up people's minds is powerful. So tell me, what is it about haikus in particular that kind of draws you to it as a poet, and maybe even like some of the ones that like really stand out to you that you've done.
Absolutely. So the funny thing about haikus is in our region, the DC region, right? So there have been haikuists before, but what haikuists of the DC region do is what we'll call put mambo sauce on our haiku. So if you don't know what a haiku is, haiku traditionally are Japanese poems, 17 syllables, very short, concise. Usually haikus are about nature, but what we do is called, our haikus are more Sinryu. They're about human life, foilables. We talk about human experiences. So how we usually do it, this is a crowd participation activity. So this is really how we do it in the show to kind of like engage with the audience, kind of pull them back in if someone's too deep or, this is kind of a technique I've learned from many great haikuists before me. So when I say haiku, guys, I just need you to say haiku, okay? Haiku. Haiku. Quiet as it's kept, all the surgery does is misshape you more, boo. Haiku.
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 Go. Audacity. Ooh, I messed up. Look. Oops. I messed up. I didn't got nervous, y'all. Doing my haiku. Done got me crying and stuff. Let me get it together. Get it together.
It's all right. That's the whole thing, right?
Get it together. Haiku.
Haiku.
Keeping appearance. My mask is weighing heavy, being what they want. Haiku.
Haiku.
Hypocrites. Oh my gosh, my brain. Okay. All right. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. Haiku.
Haiku.
Frivolous comments. Support versus discernment. Just know the difference. Well, that's a new one. I just wrote that.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's a new one. I just wrote that. That's a new one.
That one hit. I could feel that.
That was haiku.
Haiku.
Biggest supporter will be a stranger who loves everything you do. That is one of my title haiku. I realized throughout all of my journey, all of the things I've ever done in life, you have the expectation that it will be your family, your support system, your friends. It's actually a stranger. It's a stranger who says, oh, why don't you do this here? A stranger who says, oh, why don't you join this show? A stranger, not a person you know, who gives you an opportunity, a door for more. So, I mean, of all of the haiku, I can't say the other one, but of all of the haiku, that one is the one that really impacts me the most. And I try to tell it every time I can, because you will be supported more by strangers if you allow it. If I'll say it like this, if you allow it.
If you allow it. That's important.
That no new friend stuff they was talking 10 years ago is not helpful. It was not helpful.
No, and I have to say, like when I first saw that, because I think I saw it on your TikTok before I saw you do it in person at the last show that you were in, but like that one hit, right? Like that one for sure. I think a lot of us can resonate with is that your biggest supporter is often not, right? It's not your friends, it's not your family, it's not the people you know. There's something about that strangers, people that know nothing about you, but just see the art that you're creating. And that's all it is. It's not about you and your story. It's simply about the artistry that you're putting out there in the world or the message, right?
The message, the vibes, the feelings, the encouragement,
Yeah.
the testimony. the
Yeah.
relatability. So it's really about the connectiveness we share as people, really. So you can look at a painting and be connected to it, don't know why and how, but you have to have it. And you bought the painting. And that's just how life is. But we don't really appreciate art like that. This is driving me into what the name of my company is. Art is positive empowerment. So literally, art is positive empowerment, but we just don't think about it like that.
No, no. So tell me, how did the business start, and then what was your goals with it?
So art is positive empowerment was established in 2020. So this is pandemic time.
When the
Okay.
best idea is created, I'll be honest, pandemic
It was
led us some
it was coming.
visionary ideas.
It was coming anyway, but the pandemic said splat right on top. So what had happened was they stopped letting us have art events. You guys remember?
Mm-hmm.
See, the pandemic was a crazy time. So they still let them have basketball games, football games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But all of the arts were canceled. So I started, and it was the first Juneteenth on, Juneteenth across the nation as well. All I
Mm-hmm.
have in 2020. And so I decided to do basically a open mic protest.
Hmm.
So it was Juneteenth 2020 at Malcolm X Park in DC, which is also called Meridian Hill Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a generator, I took some speakers, and me and my artsy friends showed up. And there it is. And so what happened was hundreds and hundreds of people ended up coming out vending art, street art, art like they used to do, like how we would see in a documentary where people just would go outside and do art to talk about all the different things that were going on in the world that the
Mm-hmm.
media didn't acknowledge. That's what happened that day. And from that day, I kind of knew. I knew. That's when it was really confirmed that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Bringing people together to curate the space so that art can exist. No matter if it's in
Mm.
a building, if it's on a street corner, if it's in a festival, which is all of them now, but like that that's just what I'm here to do.
It's a beautiful thing, though, because you're giving opportunity to others, you're creating a space, you're curating the safety for others to express themselves, and you're bringing such a range of artists into the same space to then still be able to showcase all the different ways that they are authentically themselves. That's beautiful. Like, so what are some of the events that you've done recently with artist empowerment?
So last Saturday, which was my birthday, March 2nd, I
Happy
worked with
birthday!
thank
First
you.
off, gotta say that.
Thank you. So I work with the Artist Network, which are several other curators in the DMV and several DC artists. And we curated a show called The Kaleidoscope. And that was at the Atlas Theater. And that was our first poetry production. So we didn't do open mic. We actually put on a show explaining how we came together with our art. It was our first production. It was a sold out show. I was honored to be alongside these award winning poets. Miko Reed, Steph Marie, and they're creme de la creme out here. So I feel like a birthday guy, like the background DJ. So and I always feel invited to the fold. So I'm just like, okay, and we put on a great show. That release open mic is every third Saturday, which was last night, which was just last night. It was Women's Month. We had 4 incredible features. 3 of them, was one of their first spaces when they started poetry. These were some of the poets I was talking about earlier, award winning nominees, award winning, like slam poet champions. So
Mhm.
it's just like I'm sitting in constant celebration. That's how my life
Mm.
changed. Like I'm always celebrating a win. And it's not just my own, it's I'm always celebrating a win. I get a message, oh, I got booked for this because of you. Or, it's just the outreach in our community for art and the money in it is everywhere. It's just that we have to get access to it.
But I feel again, you're creating access. Like that's part of it. Like you're creating the opportunity for the access by the networking because in these open mics, there's so much networking. People meeting each other, people expanding their own understanding of who's in the DC area, who can support them in certain aspects of things, right? Who's aligned with them and where they're going. Like that's beautiful and that's amazing. I gotta say that show when we collide, yes. Like so, first off, Miko Reed, who was actually a guest on the show. I hope you got to see Miko's interview last season. Brilliant artist whom I met you through, in fact, at the same show. But you, the four of you, took the stage and such a profound way to present spoken word poetry. It wasn't an open mic, but it was this amazing experience that I was honored to be able to see in person, where each of you shared your stories individually, but also this collective, how you came together. So tell me a little bit more about the Kaleidoscope, how it came to be, and what your part was within that story.
So, because all four of us gonna tell this story a little differently, but what happens is each one of us are curators of our own right. So all four of us host our own open mic spaces. So first and foremost, four curators working together, it's kind of a rarity. Kind of a rarity. Okay? So those are four different networks kind of working alongside each other. But we do this, we've been doing this for over 2 years now. So we work together with all our events and like we help each other grow as curators. So see, we have collided much longer than the show. We've achieved so many great things by working together.
Mm-hmm.
The show itself was an application, okay? Of all the art that it could be, we were chosen. See, we just applied. We did not know we were going to get in. We didn't know, we didn't know. Gladly, our team, we put together a production, and I'm so glad your response has mirrored many of us. That's what we wanted to give through that. We wanted to tell you, like, you could come from several different backgrounds, but when we come together, there's nothing that will stand in the way. Regardless of what it is, because we have four distinctly different stories, right? So yes.
Yes, but they meshed beautifully together to then connect you in your networks, right? And connect it all together to say this is the collide, right? Like
and to really answer your question, we came together in open mic space. I was at a show, it was the Poet Life Festival. Nerd the Poet walked up to me and he said, I'm starting an open mic. And I said, say less, I'll be there. And we have been rocking ever since. And I will call Nerd the poetry the poetry mover and shaker. He knows everybody. He meets everybody. I was introduced to so many more poets through him. We started an open mic as DC Refresh. And literally Miko, Steph, and hundreds of other poets kind of came in through that wave. And that's the kind of wave we've been on since. So we came together in the open mic space. It's not a fabrication at all. We didn't like kind of say, let's, it all just happened when we all seeked something to release. And we found a place to do so. And we found like-minded people, like-visioned people who were walking in their intentions. And we just been doing the thing.
And y'all have been doing your things, like definitely doing the things for sure. And I think it was beautiful to see that collide on stage and the way that you all came together. Now you each represented a different color, and you represented blue. Tell me a little bit about what made you choose that color itself and what that means for you.
So I have been known to be called deep, like art is it's a little deep. So blue came to me with an instinct because blue makes me think of the sky and the ocean.
Mm.
So it's all. So the funny thing about it is, like, you know how you're like, am I talking in a poem? Like I just felt myself about to. I just felt that. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like relax, Art, relax, right? But no, it's really just like I thought of blue. I thought of the depths, really. Like when we are down and we are sad, we are blue. That's what people say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But blue is also tranquility.
Mm-hmm.
Blue is also the sky, vastness, openness, right? So it's just all about when I was thinking about the shades and hues, blue was a no-brainer for me. I couldn't, another color never even came to my mind. I think as soon as we said, like decided, blue was the color that came to my mind. Like it came with no thought.
Well, I loved it, and I think every shade spoke a different aspect of blue, right? And you did, you reframed it from this idea of sadness to so many other depths of what blue can be. Um,
I could definitely give you the ending piece. Look, because
please do,
I've
please
always got
do.
that piece at that performance. Absolutely. So just for preference sake, art is blue, art was sad. But art transitioned out of those dark blues. So the name of this poem is Art is Blue, cerulean in hue. Could you be this tranquil without 2 shots of NyQuil? Surreal this shade of blue, cerulean in hue. Means I got through the dark, the blues. I barbecued those shades, the midnight blues, diluted, muted, timid, my limbic, dyslexic. I had to flip it and reverse it. You see, I resisted every temptation to give in, and now I'm electric, blue. And it shocked me too. This bold and beautiful blue became cerulean in hue. And I didn't need an Oxford or Columbia blue. I just needed to shine my pewter blue, illuminate on every sky blue. Deep as the ocean blue is my shade, but I am not blue. I am cerulean in hue. I'll leave it there.
Mm, I love it. And again, so powerful. I hope, is Kaleidoscope going to be doing some more shows? Because I hope more people can experience it.
You heard it, y'all. Y'all heard it, y'all. So we got, because
Look, I've been trying. I told Miko too. I was like, y'all got to do this again, right? Like it was powerful. And I definitely, I would love to tell people to go watch it. So, if y'all can organize it again, I will definitely support to make sure that they do. And No Holdbacks TV says my mom steps singers
Thanks,
too.
mom.
I
Thanks,
love
mom.
it.
Thanks, mom.
Thanks, mom.
No Holds Back TV, mom. Yeah, shout out.
I love it. Thank you, thank you. Tasha got the whole fam. I appreciate that. So what is on the next horizons for you of things coming up, things we should be looking out for?
So DJArt is what you would call a community DJ. See, this is a different aspect of what I do with my art. So I make space with my art as a DJ for the community. So it is now festival season. Okay, as the sun is out, it is springtime. You will be seeing and hearing DJArt in many of DC's festivals coming this year. I will be in Porch Fest. I will be in Art on Night, multiple Art on Nights. I will be release open mic. I have we have some new shows actually coming. I'm gonna just let that simmer and come out when it's supposed to. But my goal was to actually work with the city to show the importance of artists on a local level and how they need to be supported in the same way as the industry level artists, because there's enough money for us all. And now the traction is picked up. So me and several of my artists are being booked. The Barbecue Battle Festival. It's several events, actually all of them. I'm trying not to say all of them, but you will see poets more and more. And thank you, collaborative partners, Anacostia Bid, the Anacostia Art Center, 202 Creates, DC to Go-Go. These are companies, the mayor's office, that support me in what I'm doing and putting me on and putting my art and art is positive empowerment out there for more artists to see. So it's become, the traction's picked up. The train is moving. I'm super excited.
That's huge and a beautiful thing. I'm so happy for all of you because you're all brilliant artists and you're creating this very different network of poets and artists together where it is about working together, building each other up. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm so glad to hear that it's taking off. And I know I do follow Miko as well. And I see that y'all are everywhere and you're busy. And so with that, I so appreciate that you took this evening to talk to me and to share your story with my supporters and all the people in the chat. So before we head out, I just want to know, we started off talking about courage in your journey of pain to power and just how you were struggling with that younger as you got older, right? So tell me, like, what would be the message you would give to little artists, the young kid, now looking back?
Everything you are afraid of is your greatest superpower.
Mm.
The ridicule, the judgment, the hatred, the envy, all of those things will build you to become powerful. It don't even matter. Just do it. Like little artists was so reserved. I'm telling you guys, like how you guys see me today, I used to be shy, reserved, and the one didn't talk in the back. So like just say it, do it, be it. People will actually gravitate towards you in honesty easier that way. Because, we assimilate. I try to assimilate to fit in. And, you don't fit in when you don't fit in. No matter what you try to do, you just
And you're
don't.
not supposed to, but we force ourselves to try to, right?
Well, what I've learned is you set the trend.
There
So
you go.
what you learn is you don't fit in because you are actually the whole. It kind of comes around you, and you set that, right. So it's like you don't fit in because you want to set the tone here. They down here, but this tone is up here, and the people around me moved there. So it was just realizing, like, it took a long time. Like you set the tone, all the vibrational energy around you. It starts with you.
Mm. That's
And
a beautiful thing. And I love that you said that because I think it does take a while for people to realize that. I think we're so attuned to wanting to fit into the box and fit into the belongingness of situations that it's scary to be the outlier. But like you said, the courage and the beauty of like the strength of like those things that are fearful to you are actually going to be those strongest things for you that are really going to propel you is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so many poets and artists, I'm sure, can concur with that because that is sometimes that journey of where art comes from is it comes from pain and it comes from never feeling like, there is a space for you often, which is a beautiful thing. Thank you so much, artist, for your time today, for sharing your story. Any last words you want to leave us with before we close out today?
Yes. So everyone who's here, everyone who will ever listen to this, there is something inside of you that you're holding back. I ask you today to release it. Be it a thought, idea, vision, whim, let it out and see what comes from it. You'll see that God put that seed in you to plant elsewhere so it can grow into something that will help you be your best you. It is you that God wants you to give out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me.
I love that. And yes, right? Like be you and dig into that. And I think that goes right back to what I started with. And this idea is that really it's the degree to which we grow is directly proportionate to what we're willing to see about ourselves and recognize in that truth. So thank you again, artists. Thank you to all of our supporters in the chat and the Ranters fam who pulled up. Thank you. No Bucks TV says, "Wow, that just hit me." Thank you. You guys, you got a lot of new supporters and fans for certain. I know at the end of today. And thank you to all of you for joining. Thank you to Logic, Mr. M, my producer, who is behind the scenes making everything look beautiful and amazing. And I want to make sure that everyone, if you are watching this broadcast, please make sure you go hit the bell down there, you subscribe to the channel, you hit the like button, leave a comment, share some thoughts, and follow artists on Instagram, on TikTok, and all of the links below you'll see linked right here. And me, Brown Girl Interrupting. I am a writer. I have the podcast, and I'm just sharing my story. Please make sure that if you have a Roku TV, I don't know, artists, do you have a Roku TV? Okay, well, if you have a Roku TV, if anybody does, not everybody does, Roku TV or Roku stick, please go and download the iRant channel and check out DJArt TV on there, the channel with all of my shows, as well as lots of other creators on this network sharing their stories and shows. So please make sure you go and do that, and join us every Sunday at 9 p.m. on Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube and on the iRant Network on YouTube for Pain to Power. So thank you again, artists, for your time. Thank you to all of you for joining us, for sharing in this time of healing and growing, and peace, love, and light. My world has slowly crumbled around me countless times, and every time I rebuild with the pieces I've been given to birth something so transformational and beautiful that no one else knew might exist before it was shown to them. These moments tend to coincide within my romantic path. The universe has been telling me to focus on the revolution and not romance. It has over time given me the tools, resilience, and light to turn my pain into power. And only now do I see that the key to this always resided in the love and knowing I had in myself, not from the external sources of family or men. The message I have been avoiding might be that my time in this world I had existed in was not to receive love, but to put it out there for others to see, feel, and heal through. Revolution before romance moves pain into power.